Hello again. So here we are at this one. This is one I can't say I've been looking forward to, but it's one that I kind of knew inevitably I would have to go see. This is one of the rare instances where I actually have read the book that I read the first two books that this film is based on. They were talking about making this thing into a movie like years ago. I mean, I was reading the second book when I was in my second year of college. So these books have been around for a while, and the film rights have been floating around for quite some time. So they finally did it. They finally did it. Damn you all to hell kind of thing. Now here's the upside to that. The books are trash. They're trash. And I don't mean that in that they're, trashy novels. I just mean they're shit. They're terrible books. A lot of repetitiveness, cheaply written, bad characters. So this is one of those instances, this isn't like your Harry Potter or your Lord of the Rings or your whatever, where people, the die-hard fans, which I don't know who the fuck is a die-hard fan of the Meg series, aren't going to be sitting around going, oh, they changed this and they changed that, because basically almost any change you make to this is actually for the better. There's not a lot you could do to screw this up, except one thing, and I'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, this is one of the things where I've actually read the books and I don't know anybody else who has. So this is one of those things where it's like, okay, I can actually judge this a little bit more than, than some other folks. So what's my final verdict on this? It was just kind of there. It was just kind of all right, which is which is really disappointing, because okay, so you have a premise like a prehistoric motherfucking shark comes, is loose and is eating people. Okay, so you have a premise to start with, and when you have that premise, a prehistoric shark, you can go one of two ways with it. You can go sci-fi original movie and just go so cheesy and stupid that it's enjoyable from a bad movie kind of standpoint, the hurricane heist theory. Or you can really try to go uber serious with it and try to make an actual serious, scary film. And when you see Jason Statham is playing the lead, you kind of know which way they were planning on going. They wanted to go the super cheesy route. Well, here's the problem. The movie does not pick a lane. It's trying to ride the middle. It's trying to be cheesy. At the same time, it's trying to also be serious in certain points. It doesn't know if it wants to be uber cheesy or take the premise 100% seriously. It wants to have it both ways. And when a movie tries to do that, we've discussed this several times on this show. When you try to have it both ways, more often than not, you come out with a whole lot of nothing. Everything kind of negates each other. And that's what this movie does. It's just, it's dull. It's just kind of there. It has a few good beats, and a few genuine kind of, kind of things, but only for a second, and then, it goes right. Let me tell you kind of one way I think that this has happened. Here's the big mistake I think they make. And that is Jason Statham as the lead. I think that's one of the big problems I have. And here's why. This is the only time in this review you're going to hear me say it was better in the book. So the character of Jonah. So the story is, if you've never read the book, which I'm assuming most people haven't, and you haven't already seen the movie, is that this character Jonas, in the movie he's like some deep sea rescue guy. In the book he was just a regular marine biologist. Goes really far down into the ocean and encounters something down there. We know he encounters the giant shark, but nobody else knows that. But we all see he encounters something, and it kind of drives them nuts. You know, everybody thinks he's crazy. He's, you know, washed out of whatever profession he was in. And later, through circumstance, he's brought back, and they go back down into the trench where it happened, and it turns out he was right, that this prehistoric shark, the Megalodon, has been living down there the whole time. And through convoluted storytelling, one way or the other, the shark comes up, and, you know, havoc ensues, okay? So here's the difference. In the book, Jonas is a scientist. He's a nerd, you know? And keeping in mind that this book was written before nerd chic came around, before it was cool to be a nerd. This is when, you know, nerds were nerds, you know, kind of thing. You know, they weren't Bruce Banner in the Avengers, or Tony Stark in the Avengers, I guess. So he was just a regular guy. And the other thing about it is that, you know, in the book, he's described, because the encounter with the shark, you know, has, you know, it made him have nightmares, and he's freaking out. People are calling him crazy. So he's sickly, you know. And the book, though not very good, the book is about his kind of redemption. That he comes back, he faces his fears, he proves he's right. You know, he proves all the people who have called him crazy and all that wrong. And, you know, he becomes kind of an unlikely hero. Where the movie fails is that, you know, now the Jonas in this version is, you know, of course, he's Jason Statham, you know, of course now he's a badass, you know, deep sea rescue guy, and he has to come back and learn and be badass, and, you know, learn to be badass, and his drinking only makes him more badass because he doesn't care what anybody says, you know. So your redemption arc for your character is gone. It's gone. So you don't have that interesting thing to hang the movie on. Ironically, to me, is that Rainn Wilson of The Office is in this as kind of this rich guy who's bankrolling the whole deal. He would have actually made a better Jonas, because he's more that character type. He's more the character that would fit that mold. But okay, so you want to change the character to fit, you know, a more action-packed kind of film. All right, I get that. You want to go a little bit more cheesy. Great. But here's the problem with Jason Statham, okay? He sucks as an actor. He is a block of wood. He is fucking terrible. So he can't play serious. He can't play, you know, a guy who's dealing with nightmares and guilt. When he's having interaction with, you know, his love interest, you know, it's literally like this poor woman is acting opposite, you know, a brick wall. And I'm sure he's a very nice person. I don't know him or anything like that, clearly, you know. So, you know, this isn't me, you know, saying he's a jackass. I'm just saying, as an actor, you know, he's not an actor. He's an action star. So if you wanted this to be more, you know, in that vein, then you should have gotten a little bit better actor. Don't go to the martial artist turned, you know, movie star. I mean, hell, even The Rock would have been better in this. I'm surprised The Rock wasn't in this. He's probably too busy filming his giant monster movie. You know, with someone like The Rock who's a little bit more charismatic and can pull off some of this stuff, you know, would have been so much better. So the main character, no matter which way you slice it, fails. And when that main character fails, the tone of the movie fails, and now the movie is just left in this stagnant mid-range thing where it's not one thing, it's not another, and it doesn't know what to be. You know, the rest of the cast is okay. The rest of the cast is what I call the Burger King Kids Club. You know, you do in all these movies where you've got to have all these, you know, different ethnicities and all that, which I don't mind. That's a great thing. But they all just fit their stereotypical, you know, roles. There's no, you know, you've got the chubby, funny black man who's scared of everything. You know, I heard that. You know, you've got the new scientist, you know, that, you know, the chick with all the tattoos and lip piercings and all that, who's just too cynical for, you know, she's just too cool for old school science, you know. You've got the beautiful Chinese love interest. I mean, all of these characters. You've got the dumb rich guy who just wants to, you know, you can name all these characters. The Burger King Kids Club. The only thing they're missing out on is the guy in the wheelchair. You know, and again, I like, you know, multicultural casting. I like Power Rangers, for God's sakes. But it'd be great if you kind of didn't just plug in the same stereotypes everywhere. That being said, they all do a decent job. I mean, the cast isn't bad. I mean, Jason Statham is bad, but the rest of them are, you know, they're watchable and they have some funny moments. But I mean, it's nothing special. It's nothing interesting. The CGI in this runs the gamut from really good to, oh my God, that's unbelievably shitty. A lot of the underwater stuff, like the climax of the movie is, you know, Jason Statham and Chinese love interest, you know, running around with the shark chasing them while they're in these little yellow underwater subs. It looks exactly like the scene from the Phantom Menace, like where they're traveling from the Gungan city to Naboo. You know, that little underwater sequence. It looks exactly like that. So what I'm saying is it looks exactly like special effects that looked terrible 20 fucking years ago. I mean, serious. And again, it's because I don't think they could tell where they wanted to go with it. If you want your special effects to look cartoony because you want it to be a goofy thing like Sharknado or something, fine. But then don't do the exact opposite and have shots that look really realistic. You know, it's just, the whole thing is just so, yeah, it's just so walking the line on it. I'm trying to think if there's anything about this that did stand out in a good, and that's kind of the other thing. Nothing about this stands out in a really good way to make me go, oh, that was good. But at the same time, nothing really stands out about it in a really bad way to make me go, oh, fuck this movie. So yeah, it's very, very middle of the road, and as such, you get a very mediocre, you know, basically a little waste of time. Nothing terrible, nothing that I walked out of going, oh man, I hate that, I'm just going to rant about it, but nothing that makes me go, oh, I got to see that again. So, yeah, you know, very bland way to kind of end the summer movie season. All right, so final grade for the Meg. Just gonna go a basic C, middle of the road C. Again, nothing terrible, but nothing great. So, kind of a lot of build up for nothing. I wonder if they'll end up doing the second in the series, which I don't think they will, at least not in the same way they did in the books. So 3 days, 3 movies. It's good to be back doing these. So, still got some interesting stuff looking like it's coming out. Seen some interesting trailers over the last 3 days. So maybe we'll salvage the 2018 movie year yet. You know, right now I'm a little concerned about my top 10 list for the year. It's like I don't have a lot to put on the best list. Yeah, so that's this one, and new stuff coming out next week, and we will check that out when it happens. So, till next time, thanks for joining me. Drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.